probably depends on the other discards from other people.
So that's, yeah, that's a little bit advanced, but yeah, well, let's ignore everything else.
Then it's the 3.
Yeah, sometimes
Then you're gonna discard 3, Martin? Because it's closer to the terminal? You'll get what?
I would keep it because it's more likely that someone is going to throw 1.
Then what would you discard?
5.
You're right. You're right. So this is you know, one of those exceptional situations. Your middle tiles are in principle better, but when you have all of these are middle tiles, right? All of them have equal chance of getting becoming sideweight. This can become sideweight with 2 or 4. This can become sideweight with 5 or 7. This can become sideweight with 4 or 6. Right? So they are all equal. And if you make a comparison among these 3 tiles, 3 is the best for the reasons that you said. That's exactly the reason. Right? So 3 will become a sideweight with 2 and 4. If you draw 2, that means you get 1 full weight. That's the best kind of sideweight. So there is a rank ordering among sideweight. Not all sideweights are equal. Right? 1 full weight and 6 9 weight are the best kind of sideweights. Because 1s and 9s are the least versatile tiles that will be more likely to be discarded by your opponents. So you should aim for that. 2 5 weight and 5 8 weights are okay, right? 2s and 8s are also likely to be discarded, but not as likely compared with 1s and 9s. And 3 6 weight and 4 7 weights are the worst kind of side weights, right? You should try to avoid that if you have a choice, right? And if you think about it, a floating 3 will lead to either 1 full weight or 2 5 weight, right? So it will lead to the best weight or okay weight, right? Whereas if you have 5, the only side weights that you can get are 3 6 or 4 7. Right? Both are the worst, right? So you should rather avoid 5 when you compare floating tiles, right? So middle tiles are better in principle as a theory, but the exception exists. Among the middle tiles, 3 and 7 are the best, right? So the outer ones are best among the inner ones, right? Of course, all of them are much better than 2 and 8, but among them there is a little flip in the order, right? Let's move on. What would you discard? 2? 5? 8. So 5 should be kept. 5 is much better. You know, 5 is not as good compared with 3 7 and 4 6, but 5 is still better than 2 and 8. Right? So 5 should be kept. So now comparison is between 8 and 2. And if they are both isolated, 2s and 8s are equal, right? But the difference here is that this 2 is connected to a pair, right? So this should be kept, right? Because if you draw another 1, 1 1 1 2, then that means you got two-sided weight, 2 and 3, right? Whereas this is isolated, so just discard 8, right? How about now? You only have 2 choices, right? No one is going to discard 3. So the choice is between 4 and 6. Which would you discard?
4P.
4P? Why?
Because
Shampoo is better than Kanchan?
yeah.
So dual pon weight is pair weight is better than closed weight. But the question is why? Why is it better?
Because we wait for 2 tiles and the same number of them. We wait anyway for 4 tiles, but if we have 2 different tiles we wait, we have more chance to get one.
I'm not sure if having more kinds are helpful.
No?
Not necessarily. And we got same number of winning tiles anyway, right? So the question is more about how the hand will change when you draw more tiles. Champon is better here because there are more possibilities of improving the hand later on, right? If you discard 6, it gets the hand will have a side weight only if you draw 3 or 7, right? 3 pin or 7 pin, right? But if you discard 4, the hand will have a side weight if you draw 7 or 2 man or 4 man, right? But 5 will make a free den, so ignore that. But we got 3 kinds of tiles to improve the weight, whereas if we all have only 2 kinds of tiles to improve the weight. So that's why we, in principle, should choose champon over closed weight. And there are some exceptional situations where you should prefer kanchan, but the general principle is that champon is better than kanchan, right? So now we're gonna graduate to 8-tile Tibet. We'll have 8 tiles. I'm sorry, 7-tile Tibet, where we have 8 tiles and we discard 1 tile to make the head and 2 groups. So we got 2 pawns of dragons. What would you discard? 4, 4, 2. So why 2?
Because we can get a Ryamen weight with 4.
We can. So okay. So 4 might become Ryamen later. Is that why?
Well, it's the weakest weight for now. Yeah, maybe that's the.
So the comparison is, so we have 2 side weights here.
Yeah, we don't need another.
So we don't need another ramen, right? We don't need another cut, another proton, right? So we're gonna discard both eventually, right? But you should discard 4 first, because 4 will be more dangerous later, right? Middle tiles will become more dangerous. When you plan to discard both, you should discard the dangerous one first, right? So 4. I mean, 4 might become side weight later, but we already have side weight, pretty good one, right? So we don't need more side weight. Right. What about now? What would you discard? 2 pin? Yeah. 4 pin?
No, 4 so.
4 so? 2 pin. 2 pin, right? If you discard 2 pin and get this, it's very versatile, right? If you draw 4 or 7, then that will make the head, and then you get 3-6 Yamen weight, right? If you get 3-6 first, then you get Lopetan weight, right? Extended single weight, right? So just we will simply discard the one that is closer to the terminal. 2. 5 is important to have, right? So you can feel free to interrupt me if you have questions. Any questions so far? No? Okay, so the summary so far. Middle tiles are important, but among the middle tiles, 3 and 7 are important. When you have a choice, discard the middle ones first. Now we're going to move on to 10-tile Tibet, where we have 11 tiles in the hand and discard 1 tile. But in working with the 10-tile Tibet WWYD, I think it will be more useful if you rely on what's called the block theory. Those who have read my book, you have learned the 5-block method. But since this is a 10-tile Tibet Mahjong, we're going to use the 4-block theory, right? One block fewer. Right, so we will have head and 3 groups, so 4 blocks. Assume that you have just made a pawn of some funpi. So what would you discard? So now it's more complicated. So you might want to apply the block theory and divide the hand into several blocks and compare the redundant tiles.
9-pin.
9-pin. Yeah. No other choice? Let's compare 8-man and 9-pin. But to do that, let's first split the hand into blocks and see which one is better. Oh, I thought some might say two so as well. So that here is how we would split the hand, right? One block in manzu, 2 blocks in pinzu, and one block in sosu, right? So 9-pin is actually an integral part of a block, right? If you discard 9-pin, then 7 will become isolated, right? We need 9 to make use of 7, right? So the choice now boils down to between 8 and 2, right? But the 2 is connected to 3, 4, 5, so 2 is important to have. So 8 is the one that needs to go, right? That's why the block theory is useful. You know, even Marek said 9 first. But if you sit down and think about how to split the hands into blocks, you will clearly see that 8 is actually redundant. Right. What about now? What would you discard? We are again comparing floating dials. Right? 8-man or 4 bamboo or 7 bamboo, right? No one would discard tiles in pinzu. So, what now? 4 bamboo? Why? Because you have suji 7? Yeah? But if you discard 4, the hand will no longer be able to accept 3 or 5, right? Where 5 can be incorporated into the hand, but you get hanchan weight, right? In order to have ramen, to create ramen, you need 4, right? Likewise, if you discard 7, you lose the ability to accept 8 and 6, right? So you should rather keep 4 and 7, both of them, even though they are suji tiles, right? Whereas 8 will become ramen only if you draw 7. And even if you draw 7, that ramen is not really pure ramen, pure sideway. This is semi-sideway, right? Because you are using up 9s here. So fewer tiles to win with. So you'd rather discard 8, right? What about now? Let me split the hand for you. What would you discard? Right, so the comparison here is between 2 yankans, right? 2 double closed weight, 135 and 579. Which one would you keep? I hear 1.
1 man.
1 man should go.
Or 9 so.
Or 9 so. Which one?
1 man.
1 man. Why?
Because we use mans already.
You use mans already. Why do you think 9 so? Who said 9 so? 9 bamboo.
I said,
Yeah. Why?
because if we kept 5 and 7 so, we could have yamen. We could change for yamen with 5 so.
But you need a head as well. So an alternative way to split the hand would be to focus on the pair here and think of it as this. Then it is now clearer that 1-3 is the weakest, right? So this should better stay. Bamboo should stay, this should stay, this should stay, and discard 1 man. Right? But keep in mind that you should discard 1 man first, right? Not 3 man first. Because if you draw 4 man, then you should rather keep it. Because you get a very strong tile shape in Manzu and discard bamboo, right? If you don't draw 4, then just draw 3 next, right? What about now? We got 5 blocks, so we need to reduce the number of blocks, right? Right, so which block should be removed?
6 man probably.
6 man?
Because we want pair again.
You want what?
Because we can use twos as a pair again. Or
Use
dragons.
a pair. So 2 man can be a pair?
Yes.
Is what you mean?
And we can wait for 3.
Okay.
You know.
Well, so we're gonna keep. We'll definitely keep this.
Yes.
We'll definitely keep this,
Yes.
right? We'll definitely keep this because it's sideways. But the choice is between 4-6 and 2-4, right? So the question is, which one is better?
4-6 man.
4-6 man is better, or 4-6 man should go? Which one? Which
I
one?
think it's better.
This is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And why?
Because it's, let's say it's kind of related to this group of 2 mans.
Okay.
So we can have more,
Yeah, it's somewhat close to another set. Yeah, that's one thing. But there is a bit bigger thing, bigger reason. So we should we should try to have Ryame, right? Ryame is the best kind of weight, right? Side weight is the best kind of weight. Let's think about how this and this will or will not become side weight in the future, right? If you draw 7, we'll get side weight, right? 7 man. What about this? If you draw 1, it doesn't make side weight. If you draw 5, it doesn't make side weight, right? Because 5 will be used up by 6-7, right? You only get Kanchan. This has no future, right? 2-4 has no future. So you should discard 2 and 4. Or bamboo, right? You should keep this. Right, so probably 2 first, because if you draw, if you draw, then move on to 4. Okay, now so we're gonna do non-Tibet WWYD, that's like normal what would you discard questions, like 14 tiles in the hand. So we're gonna have 4 groups and 1 head, comprising the 5 blocks. What would you discard? We got 2 Doras, and what would you discard?
4 man.
4 man? 2 man? I mean, it will be in mans, right? All the other blocks are strong enough, right? I mean, we'll never discard Dora. 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. So we have to do something about this one, right? So discarding 4 man will make double closed weight, but we don't want double closed weight here, right? Because we hope to get a pawn here, so we would need a spare pair, right? So you'd rather discard 2, right? In which case, if you get pawn, you discard 6 to make this the head, right? If this becomes Yamen, if you draw 7, then you discard pin, right? So 2 should go, right? What about now? count the blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. You need the fifth block. 2 pin. Yeah. So we have 3 floating tiles, right? This should make it clearer. 1 block, right? So 3 is connected. So this 3 is a part of the block. So these are the floating tiles. Of these 3, 2 is the least versatile, right? So 2 should go. What now? Let's count the blocks. So you just drew 1 man. Let's count the blocks. 1 block here, 2 block here, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we got 6 blocks. So we need to choose the weakest one to reduce the number of blocks, right? So obviously we're not going to discard this, or this. So 6, 8 is the weakest, right? So we discard 6 first because 6 is more dangerous than 8, right? Even without 6, we can utilize 8 if you draw 7 anyway, right? So as you draw bamboo tiles like 3 or 6, then the next discard will be 8, right? If you draw 1, 4, then the next discard will be 7 to make the Yammer weight, right? Okay, so far so good. What about now? A little bit complicated, but let's count the blocks. 1 block in upper sozu, 2 block, second block in lower sozu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we only have 5 blocks, right? When you have 5 blocks, you don't need to reduce or increase the number of blocks.